Hello and welcome to Central Midweek Online. Tonight we've got a great episode for you. We've got one of our young adults leaders, Madison, is going to give a devotional later on. Got some great worship from the worship team, and to start with we've got an interview with another one of our young adults leaders, Andrew Pirie. So Andrew, musician,
yes,
singer, songwriter, worship leader, young adults leader, boyfriend of Laura, friend of the people.
yes.
Tell us a bit more about yourself.
I'm just gunning for your job next. It's the
You
last
are?
thing on the list.
It's past or next, is it? Okay, just.
Yeah.
So when are you hoping that happens?
Soon as.
Soon as?
Probably after the lockdown lifts.
Aye,
Go
so, you know,
Sure.
my days are numbered, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. No, but well, we know you for the worship and for the music and things like that. So how about I just give you some quick fire questions so that the peeps can get to know you as well. Right, favourite band of all time?
Of all time.
Or top three?
Okay, Jason Isbell, Gaslight Anthem.
Gaslight Anthem?
Gaslight Anthem.
What was the first one?
Jason Isbell.
Wow.
Country singer, songwriter kind of guy. Good.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll go for Bethel.
Bethel music?
Bethel music.
Just in general?
Just in general,
the
Bethel.
Whole Bethel
Yeah.
setup. Yeah. Right, tell us a bit about yourself then. Job, family, life in general. Andrew Pirie in 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes. Andrew Pirie, 25, born, raised in the Broch, Falkirk for a short while, for a couple of years, dark times. Moved. I work on the Clyde platform as an instrument technician, oil and gas. My big thing is music and worship. I was kind of like the first ministry that I really served in church, and now it's kind of worship and YA, young adults kind of general is the thing now. So
you brought up in a Christian home.
Mm-hmm.
So you experienced faith at a young age, but how did it happen for you? When did you really open up to God yourself?
It's bad because I never remember the specific date. Like, there's a lot of people that you listen to in their testimonies and they're like, oh, it was like June 26, 1985. And I'm like, I think I was 9 or 10 maybe, something other than around then. But it was after I preached. It'd kind of been one of these like building up things, and it was like, you knew because you'd been like raised in church your whole life, and it was like the conviction even at like a young age that I knew it was like, this is like the next step to kind of dedicate my life to the Lord. So it was around kind of 9 or 10, I think.
And so you've had that faith from an early age. It's almost 15 years. So within that time, just explain it to me. What has God meant to you within that time?
I think it's been like the big moments. I kind of define like my Christian walk almost. So like getting saved was like the first big one, and then maybe I would say mid-teens, I remember being prophesied over, and I was like one of the next kind of big events, and it kind of said at a point, the guy who did the prophecy, he said that I was going to write words, and it's been now that I've kind of seen it happening, it's like songwriting, the kind of thing that we're doing here. I remember at the first Young Lions youth event I went to, I was like the first kind of experience of like baptism of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So that was like another big one, and it's moments like them. There was another one like at a YA conference as well, where it's almost like you just get like it was always been like short kind of words that have gone from God, but these are the things that I've held to. And the most recent one, I don't know what it means. I feel like I get like a word and then it kind of explains itself so much later. And the most recent one's been like stay where you're at, stay rooted where you're at, or it's like something happening.
Awesome. So you mentioned songwriting, and it's been something that's been within you for a while, but you're starting to get songs, recorded a bit. Hopefully that'll be soon. What's your hopes and dreams for that?
Hopes and dreams. I think it's everybody, or every kind of musician's hope and dream, like whatever you create, whether it's like an addition to a song or if you've written lyrics or something, you want it to be as big an audience as possible. But the main thing, like for me and with the people that I songwrite with, it's trying to keep ourselves humble. It's like whatever God wants to do with the song that you've made. Either it's like a congregation that hears it, it's 5 people that hear it. Maybe it's just a song that you write that never reaches anybody else's ears except from your own. But it's whatever kind of God wants to do with the song that we've made. Like really, we want to see it would be amazing to write something and then for someone to come back and say, hey, I listened to that and it was like a huge impact on me. Like it helped me in a tough time, or it like helped me like feel like a great worship session. Like as long as there's like some kind of positive impact on somebody's Christian experience, like that would really mean the world to me.
That's great. When I see you worshiping and playing, whether it's on your guitar, bass, if you're singing, I can honestly say that you sometimes just get lost in worship, and it's great to see. So how do you remain worshipful in when you're performing? There's always there's always the danger that it can be about the music, it can be about being on the stage.
Yeah.
How do you remain worshipful? How do you remain being a worshipper?
There's a fine line, because there's so many times I've gotten like right into worship and you forget that you're kind of like on stage and you're playing, and then like there's a big section coming along and you're like lost in the moment, and then you're just like, oh wait, I'm actually on stage and I'm meant to be playing here. But I think you try your hardest for not to be performance driven.
Yeah.
Again, like it's a strange one, because you want it to be as polished and professional as possible, because it does make it easier for people to get into a sense of worship, which I don't think is a bad thing to say, because the easier we're making it, because the worship team serving a purpose, it's there to kind of to like create a presence for people to then step into it. So the easier we make it for people to kind of come in, I think the better that we've kind of done our job. But I always make the point that when I'm worship leading with a band is like, first and foremost, when you're on stage, like you're not a guitarist, you're not a bassist, you're a worship leader, you're leading other people into God's presence, or at least that's the aim of it. So it is really being a worshipper first.
Yeah.
And like everybody on stage, I would consider a worship leader. Like we're all trying to lead the congregation into where we're kind of already meant to be.
We spoke about peace, the peace of God, being at peace with other people, being peacemakers. Mm-hmm. How would you say that you maintain your peace with God? Because you're a chilled out, you're a good fun guy, and you're good company to be with. But how do you keep your peace with God and others?
I think it's got to be having like a disciplined prayer life and like studying the Word, all in the background. Like I feel like whenever I know that I'm leading on the Sunday, like it starts on the Monday before. Great. It's like you get prepped with the songs, you try and get like into this. Like the more you know a song, the more you can then the easier it is, I think, sometimes to worship, because you don't need to think about playing the instrument. But it's having that strong prayer life and strong like Christian walk behind it. Because it's almost like the phrase like blind leading the blind. Like if you're on stage and there's no like authentic worship, like you're not genuine and you're nearly giving it all to God in that moment, you can't really expect everybody else that's meant to be like following you in that moment to do exactly the same if there's no like genuine worship going on there. So it really starts like so far before the Sunday.
Brilliant. It's a tough environment being offshore and maintaining your faith, maintaining your Christian witness. I loved when you gave your story in the church and you spoke about the spray painted bit that happened. Can just remind us of that again? What happened there?
Aye, so starting offshore was like a massive culture shock, because being in the Northeast, I think it's good because obviously like the youth team and that, and we are like in assemblies and that in the academy. So I feel like people know like the AOG, like it's a pretty big thing. Everybody knows what it's about. But I kind of had the assumption that everybody had like a decent understanding of what like the faith was about, even if they weren't Christians themselves.
Yeah.
So kind of going offshore and then seeing people that were completely different. Like I thought I was prepared and I thought I was pretty like secure and confident in myself, like in my faith. And then going out there, I was like, oh, there's still a lot of work to do on my end. But I remember being on the bottom level of the platform, and it's like the platform is like started in like 1986, so it's all rust down there. So everything is rusty. So like you see drawings of everything down there, usually nothing like appropriate.
Yes.
But there was someone had actually on a big stainless steel box, it was covered in like muck, and somebody had actually like drawn out the cross equals love, like that symbol that you kind of see pretty much in every church now. And I was like, yeah, I'm safe here, even though it's like it feels like the lion's den a bit, and I feel really much out of my comfort zone, and like I still felt like it was a definitely peace of God moment there.
Gave you a reassurance that God was with you.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Young adults, YA. It's difficult, it's been a difficult ministry for us to get going. It's that age is not the easiest to stand up for God and to, have fellowship with people around about you that are Christians. But I think you guys have done a fantastic job. Doing events, and lots of them have worked, and even, some things that there hasn't been so much people turned up at, we'll move on and we'll make the next thing work. And I think it's great, there's strong leadership, so well done for that.
Thank you.
What's the vision? What are you thinking for YA? It's such a difficult time just now. You've been keeping together. Can you tell us a little bit about what's been happening online, and then what the hope is for coming back again as well?
Yeah, I feel like we haven't slowed down too much with the YA stuff, which is good because we've been looking at a lot of different like series to do. Like it's good because there's so much stuff online just now. It's like so much stuff on YouTube and everything's free and it's easy to access for everybody. So we have like a lot of series going on. Like right now we're doing one called the Roaring 20s. So it's about like how to make the best of your 20s and how not to end up in the wrong path, because it's so easy. Like especially nowadays, like for the people's kind of like life plan isn't it so simple. Maybe it's like ignorant to say, like maybe like back in the day it wasn't just grow up, get married, have kids, and that was it. But like everything just seems a bit more uncertain nowadays. So it's that's the series we're doing just now, and it seems to be pretty good. People are enjoying it. But we've purposely been as regular as we can. We keeping stuff on and keeping connected to people that are there, because if you didn't, especially now, like you would lose people, and it's not for one to see.
And for future, is there a vision that you've got for it going ahead, or?
Aye, it's just to kind of keep it growing as much as we can. Like specifically, it's been difficult because the focus now has been getting through lockdown and trying to keep people connected in. But it is to kind of grow it, but it's to grow like I suppose the best way to describe it would be a family, really. And it's like somewhere where there's like a lot of closeness, and that you can get like a good support network there. Especially like if you've got people that are coming into the church new, and they might be like a young adult, would love it to have like the group there. So it's just like, just come in and they can fit in really easily. Like for people to feel welcomed and to learn something that's going to impact them massively in that like age group is the aim.
That's fantastic. One last question, Andrew. You mentioned at the start that you were gunning for my job, so what would be the first thing that you would implement as senior pastor of AOG Central?
Making songwriting the number one priority.
Right. I think we'll move on. Hey, here's a mission clip now from one of our partners, Mark Ritchie. Great to hear from him, so we're going to run that clip right now.
Hi to all of my friends at Fraserburgh. You may know this or not know this, but you guys sponsor me monthly to be an evangelist across the country and across the world. And well, obviously everything is shut down. I'm not driving to any events. I'm certainly not flying over to Australia like I was meant to be this month. And you can tell by my hair, I'm on lockdown like everybody else. But one exciting thing to tell you guys is that I've been doing a lot of online preaching, and I'm so thrilled to say that we've actually had like non-Christians kind of viewing my sermons, and actually people getting saved during lockdown, which is so exciting. The second thing to say to you is not only is that happening, but also I just wanted to be real with you and say that honestly, I'm really calling on God. I'm trying to ask God, how do I navigate these days? What does an itinerant evangelist look like at this time? And, I really just want to say that please pray for me. I love you guys in Fraserburgh, and I'd love it if you could pray for me. But the last thing, and I'm so excited and encouraged by this, and it's simply this, that, I think about that furnace, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Jesus was right there in the center of the furnace. God has this uncanny knack of turning up, showing up in the middle of trouble. He doesn't show up so much in the absence of trouble. He shows up a lot in the middle of trouble. And you know, I, like you guys, I'm calling on God and believing that we're going to move into a really exciting time. You know, they reckon that more people have been watching online church. Non-Christians have been going on and having a look because the whole world is shaking. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for supporting me, and please pray for me.
Hold me now in the hands that created the heavens. Find me now where the grace runs as deep as your scars. You pulled me from the clay. You set me on a rock. You called me by your name and made my heart whole again. Lifted up and my knees know it's all for your glory. That I might stand with more reasons to sing than to hear. You pulled me from the clay, set me on a rock. You called me by your name, and made my heart whole again. Here I stand, high in surrender. I need you now. Hold my heart now and forever. My soul cries out. Once I was broken, but you love my whole heart through. Sin has no hold on me, 'cause your grace holds me now. And that grace owns the ground where the grave did. Roll my shame remains, left for dead in your way. You crashed those age-old gates. You left no stone unturned. You stepped out of that grave and shouldered me all the way. Here I stand, high in surrender. I need you now. Hold my heart now and forever. My soul cries out. Once I was broken, but you love my whole heart through. Sin has no hold on me, 'cause your grace holds me now. Healed and forgiven. Look where my chains are now. Death has no hold on me, 'cause your grace holds the ground. Your grace holds me now. 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 So here I stand, high in surrender. I need you now. Hold my heart now and forever. My soul cries out. Here I stand, high in surrender. I need you now. Hold my heart now and forever. My soul cries out. grace holds me now. Your grace holds me now. Your grace holds me now.
Thanks to the band for giving us some amazing worship there. But today I have got you a little challenge. So I've got 3 quick questions for you tonight, and it's to help you check the foundations of your faith. And so the 3 questions are this: do you really know him? Do you really trust him? And are you telling others about him? And so this is where I'm based at tonight. We're in Matthew chapter 7, verses 23 to 29. And you've probably already guessed it. It's the parable of the foolish and the wise builder. And I'm going to read it to you just now. Okay. So the passage says this: "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew against that house, yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash." And verse 28 says this: "When Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowds were amazed at his teaching, because he taught with one who had authority and not as the teachers of the law." Now, I don't know about you during lockdown, but I have tried a few new skills. So it might be that you have tried hairdressing or home improvement, but I have tried something new. My new thing was to mow my grass. Now, it sounds like something trivial to most people, but for me it was the first time I had ever had to mow my grass, and I actually had to phone my dad to ask him how to turn it on. But pre-lockdown, before I became joiners, painters, decorators, builders, you name it, we relied on people who knew the trade. We relied on tradesmen, and we asked ourselves 3 questions, I think. You tend to firstly ask yourself, do I know this person? Do I know that they can do the job? If I'm wanting my house built, if I'm wanting some plans written up, if I want some furniture built, do I know that person and is it reputable? And then the second question you probably ask yourself is, do you trust them? Is it going to fall down around you when they build it? And the third question that you probably ask yourself once they've done the job is, would I recommend them to somebody else? And so my question 1, do you know him? When you read through the beginning of Matthew up to this point, you find Jesus with lots of crowds, and he's teaching, and they are becoming more familiar with him as time is going on. They're getting to know him, and they're starting to know what he knows. They're starting to manage to ask him better questions and glean more knowledge from him. Last week, Sam told us that he knows us, but how well can you really say that you know him? How can we know him better? Well, it tells us in the parable. It tells us that a wise person builds their life on the word, and a foolish person leaves it aside. They didn't even think about the word. And the word is so valuable to our lives. It says that in Hebrews that the word of God is living and active. It says in 2 Timothy that it's God-breathed. And it says in Psalms that the word is a lamp into our feet and a light into our path. I always go to my dad when I'm wanting my grass cut, because I know that he kens how to cut the grass. If you go out to Belgar, you'll tend to find him in the front garden cutting the grass, and you'll probably manage to hear a conversation with him, because that's where I can find him. And we can find God in his word. We need to follow his guidance for his word. We need to take the opportunity when we can, and we need to make a habit of it. My second question was this: do you trust him? At the start of lockdown, I spotted a bird's nest in my back garden, and it was hidden in the wood store. And I was out there, and I was quite excited because I've never had a bird's nest built in my house before, because in Belgar, when I bed with my mum and dad, there was seagulls away. They didn't build nests. But now I have got trees away, and they're building nests in my back garden. When I looked at the nest, it looked well built, it was intricate, it was a great design, it was sturdy, and it looked fit for purpose. There was definitely going to be some chicks raised in that nest. But the problem was it was in my wood store. It wasn't positioned well. And if it had been left there, it would have been left to destruction. The nest wouldn't have survived, the eggs wouldn't have made it, and they wouldn't have turned into baby chicks. So I removed the nest and I moved it to a plant pot outside my house, for I knew that the birds wouldn't have come. And then 2 weeks later, I go back to the wood store, and again, there is another nest in the wood store. It's bigger, it's better, it looks even sturdier than the last one was. But the thing is that it was not positioned well. And how much times do we doubt God? How much can we go back to do the same thing, we make the same mistakes over and over again? How much do we really trust him? It says in Proverbs 16 verse 9 that we can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. In other words, God gives you free will. He tells you to do whatever you want to do, but the thing is that he is going to give you the best direction for your life. He's going to give you the guidance that you need. It says in John 10:10 that the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but he has came to give you life, and life to the full. He's worth trusting in. In this parable, it's named the wise and the foolish builder. And in the end, I bet that the foolish builder was really kicking himself. I bet he was really kicking himself that he hadn't trusted in God's word. So question 3 is this: do you tell others about him? Now, this is a challenge to us, isn't it? When you're getting a builder in, when you're getting a tradesman in, you tend to leave a good review. Whether it's on Trustpilot or Yelp, you'll go on and you'll leave a good review, or you'll tell other family members about him. It says this in the final 2 verses that we had read earlier for chapter 7. It says this: when Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowds were amazed at his teaching, because he taught with one who had authority and not as the teachers of the law. Jesus has authority in our lives. There's no messing. He was sure of what he was saying when he was on the side of that mountain. He knew his stuff. He was God's son, and he was worth following. He's worth telling others about. And then when you follow on to that, when you get into chapter 8, it says that Jesus came down the mountainside and large crowds followed him. It tells us that people that was on the mountainside told others because the crowd grew. And that's what we are challenged on tonight. But we are challenged to tell others about God. Having spent time with him and seeing him at work in your life, it's worth telling others about him. And Ken, sometimes when we leave a good review, we get rewards. If anybody has ever shopped on Wayfair or any that kind of places, they sometimes give you money back for a review. Now, I'm not saying that God's giving you money to get people into the kingdom, but Ken, the reward is that there's another life in the family of God. There's another person in our family, God, when we tell others about him and we tell him how much he has done in our lives. So that's our 3 questions tonight. Do you know him? And if not, we'd love to help you get to know him. Do you trust him? Have you put your faith in him, and do you rely on him daily? And do you tell others about him? It's a challenge for us to take forward and to share the good news, to shelter one another and to build one another up. Thanks for listening.